أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله, indeed Allah, لا يغفر, He does not forgive, أن يشرك به, that something or someone should be associated with Him. We learned a very similar ayah before as well, in the same surah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives other sins, but shirk is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ, but He forgives مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ, what is other than that. And what does it mean by دُونَ ذَلِكَ? Less than that. What is less than that? لِمَن يَشَاء, for whoever He wills. Because this is also conditional. A person cannot say, okay, I'm a Muslim, I don't do shirk, and I will commit all the sins. And Allah has said that وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ, He will forgive whatever is less than shirk, so I can do whatever I want. No. This is also conditional. That Allah will forgive only the one whom He wills. وَمَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ, and whoever associates partners with Allah, فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا, then in fact he has gone in misguidance. What kind of misguidance? That is ba'id, meaning that is far away from the truth. He has gone far away from the truth, from the reality, from that which is correct. And you know, sometimes if you are going somewhere and you lose your directions, you get lost on the way, and after a very long time you find out that you're going the completely opposite way. What do you think? Forget it, I'm not going there anymore. It happens, right? Let's just go home. Why? Because he is so far from the destination, and going back to the destination is almost impossible. Similarly, when a person goes far in his misguidance by committing shirk, then there is no way for him to come back to guidance. إِيَدْعُونَ, they do not call. Who? Who does they refer to? Those people who do shirk. Those people who associate partners with Allah. They do not call min dunihi, other than Him, meaning other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, illa inathan, except females. Meaning when they're doing shirk, who are they calling upon? Who are they worshipping? Inathan. Yad'una is from dua. And what does dua mean? What does dua mean? To call out, to invoke. And remember that dua is also worship, ibadah. Dua is the essence of worship. So, iyad'una, this has been understood in two ways. First of all, that they call, meaning they make dua. Why? For help, for assistance, for barakah, for happiness, for the removal of difficulties. Who are they calling upon? Who are they making dua to? Inasan. Secondly, iyad'una, dua over here has been understood as worship. Meaning they only worship who? Inasan. This is what they're worshipping. And this ayah explains the kind of shirk that was rampant amongst the Arabs of the time. But if you look at it, this is also something that is present today amongst those people who do shirk. That who are they calling upon for help? Who are they worshipping? Inasan. What does it mean by inas? Inas is the plural of unsa, and unsa is female, feminine. And inathan has been understood in several ways over here. First of all, it has been said that inathan refers to idols. Which idols? Most of the idols of the Arabs, they had given them female names. They had given them female names. Or the statue that they have made was actually a female figure. They decorated them like females, like the dress or the clothes, the jewels, the makeup, etc. And the names even that they had given those idols were what? Female. In Surah An-Najm we read, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى, have you seen Al-Lat and Al-Uzza? وَمَنَاتَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى, and Manat. So Al-Lat, Al-Uzza, Manat, similarly Na'ilah, all of these names end with what? Ata. What does it show? That it's female. So who are they calling upon? Female goddesses. And this was something very strange, because the Arabs, they considered females to be the weakest ones. They considered women to be extremely weak, weaker than young boys even. Which is why they would, for example, if there was a child who was just above puberty, he was given a sword. You go and fight in the battle. But a woman, what is she going to do? She's going to stay at home. She's not going anywhere. So for them, women were extremely weak. Over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they're calling upon women, upon females, whom they consider to be very weak. And if you read the ayat of Surah An-Najm, if you read on, that أَلَكُمُ الذَّكَرُ وَلَهُ الْأُنْثَى, that you prefer males for yourself, and for him, if you have selected any partners for Allah, you select female partners? You think that females are very weak, and who are you calling upon? A weak creation? Someone whom you consider very weak? I mean, someone who in your culture cannot even hold a sword. أَوَمَن يُنَشَّأُ فِي الْحِلْيَةِ وَهُوَ فِي الْخِصَامِ غَيْرُ مُبِينٍ. And according to you, when it comes to argument, she's very unclear, meaning she cannot even present her argument clearly. She cannot even defend her own rights. And you're calling upon her for help, for rizq, for protection? How is she going to help? Now, it doesn't mean that over here women are being insulted, but the point here is that in your culture, you consider women to be so weak. But why is it that when it comes to the deen, then you don't use your mind? Then you don't use your logic? How come you have different standards for your deen and different standards for your dunya? Others have said that inasan, it refers to idols that are made of, and not just idols, but anything that people worship that is without a ruh, meaning a lifeless object. A lifeless object. Something that is non-living. Something that is non-living. So for example, a tree, or because a tree, does it have a ruh? No, it doesn't have a ruh. Similarly, a mountain, rock, a river, the sun, the moon, do they have any ruh? They don't have any ruh. So whether it is the actual objects or an idol that is made from them. So for example, an idol that is made from wood, an idol that is made from gold, from silver. What is this? Inas. And why are they called inas? Because in the Arabic language, such objects are referred to with the feminine gender. Like for example, it is said, Al-ahjaru tu'jibuni. The rocks, they amaze me. Tu'jibu. Feminine is being used. Remember the different types of mu'annas? This is mu'annas sama'i. Similarly, they would say, it is said, Darahimu tanfa'uni. Darahim, meaning the money, change, for example for you, change. Tanfa'uni, it benefits me, so don't waste it. Because many people, they waste darahim, change. They think, oh, it's only a quarter, it's only a cent. But when you go somewhere and you need a few cents, then those are very valuable. So don't consider them to be useless. So anyway, darahimu tanfa'uni. Ta, feminine is being used. So any object that is lifeless, that does not have ruh in it, that is non-living, that is what? Feminine. So over here, إِيَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ إِلَّا إِنَاسًا, they're calling upon lifeless objects. Lifeless objects. I mean, an idol that is made of gold, an idol that is made of silver, it may be very expensive, but does it have any ruh inside it? No, it doesn't. The same gold was once upon someone's bangle, once upon someone's earrings, and now it's made into a god. The same rock was a rock on which somebody stepped on. The same wood was that on which maybe a bear scratched on or something like that. But that same piece of wood has been turned into an idol. So it doesn't have any life in it. So what are you calling upon? Thirdly, it is said that إِن يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ إِلَّا إِنَاثًا. What it means by inath is amwat, dead. The dead. Why? Because the dead also don't have any ruh in them. So just as a lifeless object is referred to by female, from this some have extracted that someone who has died, that is also what? Lifeless. So because of that, someone who is dead falls under the category of those objects that are lifeless. And a lifeless object is referred to by females. So someone who has died is in the grave. Can they help you? Can they assist you? No, they cannot. So إِن يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ إِلَّا إِنَاسًا. Others have said that inas over here refers to angels. Because the Arabs, they thought that the angels were the daughters of Allah, and they would worship them. So over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that you're calling upon females, and you think females are so weak? I mean, if you really had to associate someone with Allah, if you really had to seek someone else's help, I mean, use your intelligence at least. إِن يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ إِلَّا إِنَاسًا وَإِن يَدْعُونَ, and they do not call upon إِلَّا except شَيْطَانًا مَرِيدًا, the rebellious shaitan. Meaning, in reality, they are actually worshipping shaitan. In reality, they are actually worshipping shaitan. And this part of the ayah has been understood in two ways. وَإِن يَدْعُونَ إِلَّا شَيْطَانًا مَرِيدًا. First of all, meaning, in reality, they are worshipping shaitan. Apparently, who are they worshipping? Inas. But in reality, who are they worshipping? Shaitan. Because why do they worship these idols? In obedience to shaitan. And what is ibadah? Al-khudur wa tazallul, servitude. So they're actually being humble before who? Being obedient to who? To shaitan. Because shaitan tells them, make an idol from this, prostrate before this, worship this, and they listen. They obey. So in reality, who are they worshipping? Shaitan. Secondly, it has been said that وَإِن يَدْعُونَ إِلَّا شَيْطَانًا مَرِيدًا. What this means is that, and they worship who? Shaitan marida. So who do they worship? Inasan, and they also worship who? Shaitan marida. That literally they worship shaitan. As we know that even today, some people in certain cults, they literally worship the shaitan. And shaitan marida has been understood in several ways. First of all, as I mentioned to you, that literally they worship shaitan. Secondly, they obey and they are very humble. They show servitude to shaitan. And Ubay ibn Ka'b, he said that shaitan refers to jinn. Who does it refer to? Jinn. He said that with every sanam, with every idol, is a jinn. With every idol is a jinn. We know that the Arabs, their culture was such that they believed in superstition. They had soothsayers, fortune tellers. They believed a lot in fortune telling. And the fortune tellers, what they would do is that they would have jinn with them. And they would seek the help of these jinn. For example, they would go to a fortune teller and they would ask, okay, what's going to happen? Or what did I do? And the jinn would say, okay, this is what he did. Why? Because the jinn perhaps saw him, or the jinn probably heard him, or the jinn heard from some other jinn. So basically the fortune teller would take help from the jinn. So their culture was a lot with jinn and fortune telling, believing in superstition and all of these things. And they also used to worship idols. And it is said that sometimes when they would go and they would pray to the idol, they would seek help from the idol would actually respond. They would actually hear the idol respond. It wasn't actually the idol who would respond. It was actually either a person behind the idol. It was a person behind the idol. Or sometimes it was a jinn. Sometimes it was a jinn. Which is why Ubay ibn Ka'b, he said that with every sanam is a jinn. With every idol is a jinn. And Ibn Abbas who said that in every sanam is a shaitan. In every sanam, in every idol is a shaitan. We learn in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنَّ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِهِمْ مُؤْمِنُونَ. But rather, they used to worship jinn. They used to worship the jinn. So, وَإِن يَدْعُونَ إِلَّا شَيْطَانًا مَرِيدًا. And they actually, who are they worshipping? Shaitan marida. Now the sifa, the characteristic of shaitan that has been mentioned over here is marid. Marid is from the root letters mim, ra, dal. And murud is to rebel. What does it mean? To be rebellious. To be disobedient and exceed others in disobedience. To be excessive in disobedience. Like just imagine if there are 3 children who disobey their mother. One beats everybody else. He's the most disobedient. This is what murud is. To be excessive, to exceed others in doing that which is wrong. And it also gives a sense of to be excessively proud. Because generally, what is it that makes a person extremely disobedient? It's the arrogance. It's pride. And it is also to rebel and to become used to rebellion, to become accustomed to the rebellion, and then persist on it. Do not leave that way. Do not leave that way. So for example, if a person says that, no, I'm never going to follow the rules. Like for example, class rules. Everybody knows that you have to come in uniform. Now one person says, no, I'm not going to come in uniform. Never going to come in uniform. And they make it a habit. And no matter how much they're told, no matter how much they're reminded, what do they say? No, I'm not going to. This is what? Being excessive in disobedience, persisting on disobedience. And what is the reason? Pride. Who are you to tell me? I'm going to do whatever I want. So, وَإِن يَدْعُونَ إِلَّا شَيْطَانًا مَرِيدًا. This is what marid is. That one who is very rebellious, one who has left the bounds of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what do we learn from this ayah? That the Arabs or the mushrikeen, who do they worship? Inas. And they also worship who? Shaitan. We also learn that worshipping any other besides Allah is actually worshipping shaitan. When a person does shirk, who is he obeying? Shaitan. In Surah Saba, ayah 41, as I mentioned to you earlier, بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنِّ. That rather they used to worship the jinn. Similarly, in Surah As-Safat, ayah 158, we learn وَجَعَلُوا بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ الْجِنَّةِ نَسَبًا. And they have claimed between him and the jinn a lineage. Meaning they associate jinn with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Yasin, ayah 60, أَلَمْ أَعْهَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. Did I not enjoin upon you, O children of Adam, that you do not worship shaitan? For indeed he is to you a clear enemy. So all of these ayat, what do they show? That when a person is doing shirk, in reality he is obeying, he is being a servant to shaitan. And who is shaitan? He is marid. He is excessively disobedient to Allah. So if you're obeying him, are you obeying Allah? No. لَعَنَهُ اللَّهُ. Allah has cursed him. Allah has cursed who? Shaytanan marida. And what does la'na mean? To distance someone from mercy. When someone is distanced from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's kept away, kept far from the mercy of Allah. So la'anahu Allah, Allah has cursed him, and this is in a way a dua against shaitan. That, you know how you say la'anahu Allah, meaning may Allah curse him. And others have said that la'anahu Allah, this is actually a khabar, this is actually an information that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. It's a fact that Allah has actually cursed him. Not just may Allah curse him, but Allah has actually cursed him. And why is Allah telling us about this? In order to warn us from obeying the shaitan. That if shaitan is distant from the mercy of Allah, if you obey him, what are you heading towards? The mercy of Allah or away from the mercy of Allah? Away from the mercy of Allah. And when did Allah curse shaitan? When he refused to prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. We read in Surah Al-Hijr, ayah 34, قَالَ فَخْرُجْ مِنْهَا فَإِنَّكَ رَجِيمٌ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then said, then get out of it, for indeed you are expelled. And indeed upon you is la'nati, my curse, until the day of resurrection. So la'anahu Allah wa qala, and he said, who said? Shaitan said, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed him and expelled him, that لَأَتَّخِذَنَّ, surely I will definitely take min ibadika, from your servants, nasiba mafruda, a fixed share, a fixed portion. Meaning I will take from your servants a portion for my servitude, for my obedience. They will obey me, they're not going to obey you. They're going to obey me, they're not going to obey you. They're going to serve me, they're going to worship me, they're not going to worship you. And as a result, I am going to take them with me where? To the hellfire. To the hellfire. So لَأَتَّخِذَنَّ, surely I will definitely make for myself min ibadika nasiba mafruda. Notice the word mafrud. Mafrud is from the root letters farad. What does fard mean? An obligation. Something that is ordained. Something that is appointed. So nasiba mafruda, meaning an appointed portion. A fixed portion. I mean, they're definitely going to obey me. I'm going to make sure that there is a portion of your servants who are going to obey me, who are going to listen to me. who are going to hellfire with me, I'm not going alone there. I'm taking some of them with me. Secondly, nasiba mafruda. Mafrud, farada literally means to cut. To cut something off and separate it. This is the literal meaning of the word fard. So mafrud is meaning maqtur. Maqtur. What does maqtur mean? Meaning cut off from the rest of the slaves. So the first meaning that I mentioned to you, mafrud, meaning mu'ayyan, it gives a sense of definitely. Definitely they're going with me. I'm not going alone. And if you take the second meaning, that maqtur, they're not going to Jannah. They're not going to go to Jannah. They're going to be cut away from the rest of humanity, and they're going to be coming with me. So nasiba mafruda. So we see in this ayah that shaitan, he will be successful in misleading and taking with him to hell a good portion of the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will take them to hell with him. How? Because he will command them and they will obey him. And by obeying him, they will also get the la'na of Allah. They will also become marid. They will also become rebellious. Abu Sa'id said that the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah will say on the Day of Judgment, O Adam, and Adam a.s. will reply, I respond to your call, I am obedient to your commands, and all good is in your hands. Meaning, command me. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to Adam, send forth the people of the fire. Send forth the people of the fire. Why is Adam a.s. being told? Why? Because he's the father of humanity. So he will be told, send forth the people of the fire. Adam will say, how many are the people of the fire? Allah will say, out of every 1,000, take 999. Out of every 1,000, take how many? 999. Nasiba mafruda. A big portion of human beings is going to obey who? Is going to be humble before who? Is going to show servitude to who? Shaitan. And is going to end up with who? Shaitan in the hellfire. So why will they be sent to hellfire? Because they worshipped shaitan. Because they obeyed shaitan. They showed servitude to shaitan. And this number is a huge number. 999 out of every 1,000. I was listening to a lecture once, and I don't remember which one exactly, in which the speaker, he was mentioning that just imagine you are in a place and there's a bomb blast, and you know that only one person survived. You know that only one person survived. Are you going to be sure that it's you? Are you going to be sure that it's you? No. Just imagine if there's a plane crash, and you know that only one person survived. Only one person. How sure can you be that it's you? You can't be. So this shows, why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us about this? So that we become extra careful, extra alert. That this is how successful shaitan is going to be. This is my enemy, and this is how much he's working against me. I have to be extra careful. Not even for a moment, not even for a second, can I become heedless. In Surah Al-A'raf, ayah number 16, we learn, قَالَ فَبِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. Shaitan said, because you have put me in error, I will surely sit and wait for them on your straight path. Meaning, I'm going to sit on the straight path, and everybody who comes that way, I'm going to try to mislead him. And Ibn Mas'ud radhiyallahu anhu narrated that one day the Prophet ﷺ drew a straight line on the ground, and he said, this is the path of Allah. And then he drew some lines to the left and to the right. And he said, these are the erred paths, meaning these are the paths of misguidance. And on each of these paths, there is a shaitan calling to it. There is a shaitan calling to it. You know, just like you're going on the highway, and there are so many exits. So just imagine, the Sirat al-Mustaqim is straight, and every exit, there is somebody there calling you, make sure you come here, turn here, turn here. You know, sometimes the GPS, it tells you, take the exit, take the ramp, and if you don't, you continue going, what happens? What happens? It tells you to take the next ramp. It tells you to take the next ramp. It doesn't leave you. This is how shaitan also invites away from the right guidance. That on each of these paths, there is a shaitan sitting there, calling people. And no person can say that shaitan does not come to me. Shaitan does not whisper to me, I am saved from shaitan. Because shaitan swore. He swore that I will definitely take a portion of them with me to the hellfire. We read in Surah Al-A'raf in ayah number 17, ثُمَّ لَآتِيَنَّهُم مِّن بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ وَعَنْ أَيْمَانِهِمْ وَعَنْ شَمَائِلِهِمْ وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. Then I will come to them from before them. I will call them from before, from their front. And if they turn away, I will call them from behind them. And if they turn away, then I will call them from their right. And if they try to go to their left, I will call them from their left. Shaitan doesn't leave a person. You say, no, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem. You take one step, shaitan comes again. You take another step, shaitan comes again. This is how shaitan is after the son of Adam alayhi salam. How can we become neglectful then? How? Remember that when a person does the dhikr of Allah, then shaitan runs away. And when a person is not doing the dhikr of Allah, then what happens? Shaitan comes back. Khannas, the one who comes again and again, retreats. He goes back and comes again. Every time a person says some dhikr, shaitan runs away. And as soon as a person becomes ghafil, shaitan comes back. So how can we sit before the television for 2 hours, 3 hours, and think we're fine? Just think about it. For those 2-3 hours, are you doing any dhikr? Any dhikr at all? You're exposing yourself to your enemy. You're making yourself vulnerable. You're telling your enemy, come and attack me. I'm here, 3 hours. Fill my heart, fill my mind with waswasa, with laziness. That I don't have any interest in reading the Quran. I don't have any interest in praying salah. This is what we're doing. Literally, we're calling our enemy to come and attack us when we neglect doing dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this ayah, it shows to us that we must be on guard all the time. All the time.